Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing, guys? What's poppy? And I'm super excited for this episode because I'm just so relaxed. I'm stressed, but I'm just like relaxed. I'm just in that space where what's the worst that can happen? You're welcome to the amazing episode on EWL podcast. Before we get right into it. Hello, guys. What's up? It's another amazing episode on Experience with Luchi podcast. I'm your host, Timothy Theology Gloria. Don't forget that this podcast is a platform for you to be expressive and a reality check. And on today's topic, I was having a discussion with my brother just randomly because when I speak about topics, I tend to have the conversations with people just to get like their 2 cents on what I'm about to talk about. So I asked him, Israel, when you think about failure, what comes to your mind? And the next thing I heard is, I fail for school now. So in my head, I'm like, who never fail? Hands up in the air. If you know you've not failed once in your life, put your hands up in the air. Somebody, I don't think there's anybody. So failure, if for someone that's running away from failure, if you think say you know go fail for this life, or if you think say you have always have a clean slate, then there you are living a life with no expectation. And as humans, we have a lot to expect from our individual self because we always have to give off our best output in every circumstance, like I said in one of my previous episodes. Okay, guys, we titled today's topic Failure, a path that makes a difference. So, me having that discussion with my brother when he say, when he thinks about failure, he thinks about how he failed willfully in school. Like, there's just some courses. Like me, I did Igbo language, and throughout my senior secondary school, it was difficult for me to comprehend what they were doing. Even writing Igbo, I know in my senior work, I remember like writing Edemede, like later in Igbo, and I was just like writing with the Igbo terms I knew as being pronouncing, and I'm like, when they say dear or him, so you hear me saying or him, I'm trying to like spell. It was a very difficult like thing. I kept feeling like I failed Igbo for the 3 years I was in senior secondary school, and I eventually passed it in my senior work. I don't know how God did it. We had some help. If you know, you know. I'm not saying more than that. So failure is something that everybody has encountered. And people will say, you too they fail, you don't know anything. But failure comes with a lot of expectation. When there is no failure, there is no expectation. Even this morning when I was trying to work on the topic and I just went to Google was not even giving us something that is encouraging. When you see failure in the dictionary, you say failure is with it. Failure means without success. So in essence, they're saying when you have failure, there is no success. But I'm here to argue that fact because I believe for every successful man you meet, for every successful person I've spoken to, for every successful person you hear talk about their journeys, they talk about a lot of encounter that has failed, and if that did not fail, probably they will not be at the point or at the phase they are in life today. I remember when I speak about failure, I my brother, we've worked on a lot of businesses together. Like I don't want to even start listing, but we've had a lot of ups and downs. It's like pumping money into things that when we started getting the output, it was not up to the investment money we made. So speaking of, I remember when I was in school, the first time I wanted to get into business. So I've not always been a business person. I just believed that I was going to go into corporate jobs immediately I was done with school, then follow my education from there. But even in school, it just got to a point where making money was a very compulsory thing for me. It was a very compulsory take in my life. I needed to make money. I just wanted to understand what it means to work and earn your own money. So I remember my brother started this mini importation business. I think that was the first business we started with, and I was delivering bag. It got to a point when I went to a place I've never been before to go deliver bag. Then I was still in Ife. I went to deliver the bag, and me getting there, the girl is complaining. I told her, I actually had that discussion with her when I was like, "Oh, madam, this is your delivery fee," and she allowed me. I went from my hostel to her place. I've never been to that part of Ife before, but I eventually went there. I delivered the bag, and it was time for her to pay for my delivery fee, and she was just being impossible. She was being so annoying. And they're just, for me, I just feel like they're just one fight where me and no fit even fight self. So my point is, I kept arguing, madam, not be this thing we talk about, so give me my money, give me my money. And she was not even being like understanding. Like, I spent over 1,500 naira to come to that part of her area, and eventually she just paid for my transport coming, and I had to take care of the transport fare going. It was just so impossible. So mini importation was one hell of a business me and my brother started. And I remember we sold like those cute men's shoes. I remember asking people to post for me on their status. Okay, we sold one, we sold two, we sold different shoes. I think we sold about 10 shoes that period. I even sold to my dad, God bless his soul. And it was just impossible to keep up with the importation transport fare and what we are buying going out of stock, because it's something mini importation. People, when we're introduced to that business, it was as if when you buy, your customer will just come and buy, and you go import again. But because we did not understand that before you do those things, you should have your customers, you should have your customer targets, you should have actual customers that want to buy. If not, you run at loss, or your money will be tight for a very, very long time. So we went from mini importation business and went to open our own online business, where we tend to, because my brother was frauded during one period in his life, and it was so hectic for him. I remember him going to the police station to even lodge the complaint. So we betted trade smart. It was something an idea my brother brought to me, and we quite invested a lot of money in trade smart again. Trade smart, I think trade smart is something that we just left because the online business needed a lot of funds, and at the point we are in this life, we had more, like, we had a foreseeable future with the business we run now than Tracemart. So Tracemart, I'm not going to say it completely failed, but it's something that is just there. We even registered the business, and it was an online it was a platform that helped you, that was going to help control scam in Nigeria, control online vendors, just fake online vendors. So that was the purpose of Straight Smart, and we did that for about a year. I remember doing if you've been a family member from season 1 of EWL podcast, I always spoke about Trade Smart. I always repped the brand. I was always on my t-shirt. I was always speaking about Trade Smart. It was something that we left for now. Then from Trade Smart, we did other things. Then eventually another official business that we're about to start. We already started a delivery business. We wanted to start the delivery business. We had the banner out. We already had the money to get the bikes and the delivery boss. We had everything. Everything was set. So after we were about to launch our delivery business, I remember my brother was saying that we're going to launch it January ending, towards the ending, towards my birthday. And all of a sudden, we spoke to my mom about the business, and it was not feasible. We did not have like a constant person, and my brother was not available. I was not available because of other engagement. So it's a lot of business we've tried, to be honest. And personally, I have done other things myself. I try to learn I tried, even like academic, I tried to learn other things, and it was not just. I remember my daddy taking me to a catering school. I was about to get the form, and I just kept saying, "Oh, what if I buy this form and school resume?" It was during COVID period, so eventually I did not go for that catering class. My brother went from selling data. My brother used to sell data. He went to doing online design, and it's just something we've tried and tried, and it was not working. But now we have feasible business. I got into YouTube. My brother started his social media sales, where he sells handles and everything. So it's a lot of things we have tried. And guess what is the common thing that you have heard from everything I've seen? We tried, and it did not turn out the way we expected it to turn out. We did our perfect best, our best, and it did not turn out the way we expected. But guess what? We picked ourselves up because we knew that there is a destination we're heading to. And without those expectations, without failing again and again, there is no way we would have found our niche. There was no way we were going to find that thing that was going to solve that problem of, oh, you want to work, and at the end of the day, you see the money you're working for. So speaking to you now, I got into lubricant 2022 and fully into transportation business. And even though it is not something I have ever thought, I was going to do, or I was going to venture into, it's something that pays. And I've listed a lot of business that we tried before getting to this place. Me, I wanted a tools business where I would just be in my house and somebody would just place an order and I would just send my delivery guy to go deliver. But it did not work out the way we were planning it. It was a lot of failures. It was a lot of funds gone into those things that did not turn out. Even this delivery business wanted to start now. We're just this close to paying for the motorcycle before we thought about the feasibility of that our plan, and we knew we're not ready. We just knew at some point that this was going to flop, and that was another money we're going to waste. So failure. I'm just saying all this random story to tell you that failure is a necessary factor. I remember when I was in school, I was encouraged to take courses, to take different courses apart from academic courses. So I already started for ICANN, and my ATS one, it was so funny. I was so depressed at that point. Not depression, but you get what I mean. I was so sad. So I did my ATS one, and I failed communication skills and banking, the accounting side of it, but I got my economics and government. And it was so difficult because it was a lot of money to pay for ICANN, for those of you that have done ICANN. And it was so difficult for me to come to the fact that I actually failed. I could not even wrap my head. You know, the funny thing, I even really started to rewrite those papers. But along the way, when I was doing those registrations, I had a discussion with my dad, God bless his soul, and he just kept telling me that, Oluchi, look for something that you have passion for. Like, I just feel like he just kept telling me that I just feel like if you do this, it's not something you're going to use, because I'm not into accounting per se, but I just wanted to get that ICANN certificate just to like expand knowledge and pack the CV. The CV has to be packed. So in the course of having that discussion with my dad, I did not go for that exam again, and instead I registered for HR and customer relation courses online, and eventually I got the certificate. And I still intend to progress as a human resource manager and a customer relation manager in the future. So I'm just saying that failure sometimes just open doors to things that you were not even looking at. Failure sometimes just open doors to things that would actually yield fruit. Sometimes people will go through things and they will keep complaining. I remember the time those I remember the time those tough time when my dad was healed and I was like, a lot of things were happening for me. One of our workers stopped working with us. And it was just hectic because I had to look for a replacement. First of all, she stopped without telling me that she wanted to stop. And even when we called her over and over again and say, when are you resuming? We need somebody in this branch. We're losing a lot of customers. And I remember we kept complaining. My daddy, even in his sick bed, was just complaining about what are we going to do about that branch. And we did not even know that was God just setting pace for the maximum thing he was about to start in our life. It was as if she was a stumbling block to the success we needed in that area. And eventually we got frustrated and everything that happened, and we got a replacement. So for a place that, if you look at the margin of income that comes from that place when she was around for the whole year she's worked with us, and somebody that her replacement is now making what she would make in a whole year in a month, then you should understand that phase needed to happen. That unexpected expectation English vocal, that phase of her working out on us without even giving us prior information, it needed to happen. That phase where we looked confused and we're like, how do we get a replacement, needed to happen for the blessing God had in store for us to be going to manifest. So look at the difference. Imagine of profit that we would make normally a year is what our replacement is making in a month. So I just feel like failure just sets the path. Failure would just set the path for you to make that difference. And I remember my friend advising me when I failed my ICANN, my first exam, when I was preparing for my ICANN, and she said that failing does not necessarily define who you are as a person, but what you do with that failure is what's determining if you are a complete failure. I meet people and I'm like, I bless God for the people I have met in my life. So the thing I want you to take out from today's episode is everybody has tried a lot of things that did not work out for them. But guess what? You fall down 7 times and you have to rise up 7 times. Because life is survival of the fittest. The more you struggle, the more problems will arise. The more problem will continue to come. You keep solving problems, it shows that you are a person that is trying to live. Regardless of the problem, yes, you have to live your life. It's something that is certain. But those problems, when you solve one, a huge problem comes up. And you just have to be prepared for it. Whether it comes with you filling that text, or you not feeling it. But if you fail it, always know that there's another bigger test coming, and you have to be prepared. You have to look for ways to survive, regardless of how many times you try and it does not work out. Because guess what? Nobody wants to be broke. Nobody wants to be unimportant. And failure is part of the things that will make you understand that, oh, you thought you had it in you. You thought that you are the real deal. But when you fail, your brain will reset, say, you get some things where you never still know how to do. So failure just kicks in that morale you need to just be that successful person you want to be that accomplished person you want to be. Failure needs to happen most of the time for you to succeed. A lot of the time, in fact, if not all the time. Failure just set the pace for a maximum difference. And that is the message for today's episode. So guys, don't forget to stream this podcast on Anchor, Spotify, and on YouTube. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, guys. Like I always say, don't forget to follow me across all social media platforms at Luchi on X, formerly Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook. We also have a podcast page on Instagram, EWR_podcast. Like I always say, let's spread love because God is love. Love is God. Have an amazing week, and I love you guys. Bye. And don't forget, there is always light at the end of the channel.